My beloved child, listen carefully now. This is not random. This moment found you because your spirit was ready to hear what your mind could not yet explain. Stay with me. Don't skip. What unfolds here was already unfolding around you. There are things spoken in private that carry more truth than words said out loud. There are moments when someone's heart speaks before their pride can stop it. And recently, in a quiet space where defenses fell away, your name was carried into a conversation you were never meant to hear. Not in anger. Not in mockery. But in emotion so raw it surprised even them. You've sensed it, haven't you? The pause in their messages. The way their tone softened, then pulled back. The hesitation that feels like distance, but isn't absence. You felt it in your chest before you understood it in thought. That was not imagination. That was awareness awakening. Stay with me. You need to hear this part. What was spoken about you was not a judgment. It was a confession. Not to you, but about you. And the reason it happened now is because timing has weight. Certain truths cannot surface until the heart reaches a breaking point where pretending becomes heavier than honesty. They spoke about time. Not just years, not just numbers, but seasons. They spoke about where you are, and where they feel they should be. They didn't say it with certainty. They said it with tears. With fear they didn't expect to feel. With longing they didn't plan to admit. This matters more than you think. You see, age in this moment is not about counting. It is about alignment. It is about wondering whether two paths are allowed to meet when they weren't supposed to. It is about questioning whether something that feels right is permitted by the rules they learned to obey. And here is the part you may not realize yet. They were not crying because of you. They were crying because of how deeply you reached them. Stay with me. Don't let your mind rush ahead. They spoke to a friend because they couldn't hold it alone anymore. Because pretending indifference was exhausting. Because every time your name crossed their mind, something inside them softened and resisted at the same time. They asked questions out loud they never allowed themselves to think in silence. Why does this feel so real? Why does this feel so safe? Why does this feel so wrong to question, and yet impossible to ignore? You were not painted as a mistake. You were spoken of as a disruption. A holy interruption to the timeline they thought they were following. This is where clarity begins. There are connections that do not arrive to fit neatly into plans. They arrive to reveal truth. They arrive to expose assumptions. They arrive to show the heart what it values beyond appearance, beyond expectation, beyond fear. You were mentioned not as a problem to eliminate, but as a feeling they don't know how to release. This part matters. Stay with me. They didn't say they were afraid of you. They said they were afraid of what wanting you says about them. About their courage. About their willingness to listen to their own heart instead of the voices that trained them to doubt it. And this is where the deeper meaning unfolds. Age, in this moment, became a symbol. A symbol of time lost. Of time remaining. Of moments they fear they waited too long to allow themselves to feel. You awakened something that had been dormant, and that awakening didn't come with instructions. They cried because desire collided with restraint. They cried because affection collided with logic. They cried because their soul recognized something their mind wasn't ready to defend. And still, they couldn't say your name lightly. Stay with me. You need to hear what this means for you. This is not a message of regret. This is not a warning. This is revelation. You were never meant to chase this or force it or prove yourself worthy of it. The reason you are hearing this now is because your role is not to convince. It is to remain aligned. There is power in not rushing. There is strength in staying rooted. There is wisdom in allowing truth to surface on its own time. They are processing something real. Something that can no longer be ignored. And while you may feel unseen in the silence, understand this. Silence is often where the deepest decisions are formed. You haven't been forgotten. You haven't been dismissed. You haven't been reduced to a number or an idea. You've been felt. This part matters more than you realize. When someone cries about you in private, it means your presence has crossed beyond surface attraction. It means you reached the place where defenses fall away. It means you touched something authentic enough to disturb comfort. And disturbance is not destruction. It is preparation. Right now, a door is standing between certainty and courage. They are standing in front of it, hand hovering, unsure whether to knock or walk away. That hesitation is not rejection. It is respect battling fear. Stay with me. You may be tempted to shrink yourself. To question your worth. To wonder if you should step back further or explain yourself louder. Do neither. This moment is not asking you to perform. It is asking you to remain steady. Your calm is doing more than your words ever could. There is something sacred about timing. About when hearts are allowed to catch up to truth. What feels delayed is often being refined. What feels unclear is often being prepared for clarity that lasts. They spoke because they couldn't hold the weight of it anymore. They cried because the feeling didn't fade. They questioned because the connection stayed. And you are not behind in life. You are not early. You are not late. You are exactly where you are meant to be. This experience is not meant to destabilize you. It is meant to anchor you. To remind you that your presence carries meaning beyond what you can see. To show you that you don't need to chase validation when truth is already moving on your behalf. Stay with me just a little longer. There will come a moment when what was whispered becomes clearer. Whether through words, actions, or a shift you can no longer ignore. And when that moment comes, you will recognize it not by intensity, but by peace. Until then, remain open but grounded. Present but not pleading. Aware but not anxious. You were spoken of with emotion because you stirred something real. And real things take time to understand. This is not the end of the story. This is the awakening of it. Stand steady. Keep your heart soft. Let alignment do the work you were never meant to force. My beloved child, stay with me. What you felt after hearing the first part was not confusion. It was recognition. Something inside you stirred because this message is still unfolding, and the next layer carries clarity your heart has been quietly asking for. You may be wondering why this connection surfaced the way it did. Why emotion appeared before explanation. Why silence followed vulnerability. This is not coincidence. This is what happens when truth begins to rise faster than certainty can keep up. There are moments when the soul speaks first and the mind scrambles to follow. That is where they are right now. They did not cry because they were weak. They cried because something real interrupted the version of themselves they were trying to maintain. They were confronted with a feeling that didn't ask for permission. A feeling that didn't fit neatly into the timeline they thought they were living by. Stay with me. You need to hear this. What they shared with that friend was not the full story. It was the part they were brave enough to say out loud. The part they could admit without being seen by you. The deeper truth stayed locked inside them, not because it isn't real, but because it feels too powerful to mishandle. They didn't say everything they felt. They only said what they could survive admitting. And here is where your role becomes clearer. You are not meant to step in and resolve their uncertainty. You are not meant to justify yourself, your timing, or your presence. The reason this connection holds weight is because it is not driven by urgency. It is shaped by depth. This part matters. Don't skip. There are connections that arrive gently but refuse to leave quietly. They don't demand attention. They earn it. They sit patiently until the heart realizes it has been changed. You are one of those connections. They are measuring themselves right now. Not against you, but against their own fears. Against expectations they inherited. Against rules they never questioned until your presence made those rules feel incomplete. Age became the word they could use. But what they meant was readiness. What they meant was courage. What they meant was, am I brave enough to choose what feels true instead of what feels safe? This is not about distance. It is about awakening. Stay with me. You may notice moments where they lean closer emotionally, then retreat. Where warmth appears, then restraint. That is not indecision about you. That is an internal negotiation between who they have been and who they are becoming. And becoming takes time. You were not meant to rush this process. You were meant to witness it without losing yourself in it. That is the balance that protects you. Here is something important you may not have realized yet. They trust you more than they admit. The reason they pulled back was not because they felt less. It was because they felt more than they were prepared to manage. When feelings grow beyond control, people don't always move forward. Sometimes they pause to regain their footing. Silence, in this case, is not emptiness. It is concentration. Stay with me. This next part matters deeply. There is a difference between someone questioning a connection and someone questioning themselves because of a connection. You triggered the second. You didn't make them uncomfortable. You made them honest. And honesty can feel destabilizing before it becomes liberating. You may be tempted to look for signs, signals, reassurance outside yourself. But the most important signal is already present. You are calm. You are grounded. You are still standing in your truth without forcing it. That is not accidental. You were never meant to convince anyone of your worth. Your presence does that naturally. The right connections don't require explanation. They require alignment. They are learning this now. They are learning that what they felt was not imagined. They are learning that what stirred in them didn't fade with logic. They are learning that some connections arrive to realign the heart, not disrupt it. This is where patience becomes power. Not passive waiting. Conscious steadiness. You are being asked to remain open without collapsing into expectation. To stay receptive without becoming dependent. To trust that what is real does not disappear when given space. Stay with me. There will be moments where doubt tries to speak louder than truth. When your mind asks questions your heart already answered. When you wonder if this meant something only to you. It did not. The tears were real. The conversation was real. The impact was real. And impact cannot be undone. Even if words are delayed. Even if actions take time. Even if clarity arrives gradually. What has been awakened cannot return to sleep unchanged. You are not behind. You are not waiting for permission. You are not on trial. You are standing at the edge of understanding. This season is not about outcome. It is about alignment. About allowing what is true to find its rightful shape without pressure. About trusting that what is meant to move forward will do so with peace, not force. They are learning. You are anchoring. Timing is working quietly between you. Stay grounded. Stay present. Stay open. This is not the conclusion. This is the deepening. And you are exactly where you are meant to be as it unfolds. My beloved child, stay with me a little longer. What is unfolding now is subtle, but it is powerful. If part 1 stirred your awareness and part 2 brought clarity, this next part is about grounding your heart so you do not misinterpret the season you are in. You may feel a strange calm mixed with unanswered questions. That is not confusion. That is restraint learning how to coexist with hope. Something real has already been set in motion, but it is moving beneath the surface where impatience cannot interfere. This part matters. Don't skip. Right now, they are replaying moments they didn't think were important at the time. Small exchanges. Brief glances. Things you said casually that now echo with meaning. What once felt ordinary now feels loaded with truth. That is how impact reveals itself, quietly, then all at once. They are not asking whether they felt something. They are asking why it felt so natural. That question changes everything. When a connection feels effortless, the mind searches for reasons to resist it. Not because it is wrong, but because it threatens the structures that kept life predictable. Predictability feels safe. Truth feels alive. And life often asks us to choose between the two. Stay with me. They are beginning to realize that what unsettled them was not your age, your timing, or the circumstances surrounding you. What unsettled them was how quickly their heart recognized you without needing permission. Recognition bypasses logic. And recognition does not ask for approval. This is where the deeper shift is happening. They are noticing how your presence altered their internal rhythm. How they felt more honest, more present, more themselves around you. And now that awareness is asking something of them, something they have not yet fully answered. This is not resistance. This is reverence. When something matters deeply, people move carefully. They do not rush forward. They weigh, they pause, they reconsider everything they thought they knew. That is not avoidance. That is respect for the gravity of the moment. Stay with me. You need to hear this clearly. You are not being tested. You are being trusted. Your steadiness right now is not invisible. It is felt. It is giving them space to hear their own truth without distortion. If you were to push, it would only add noise. If you were to withdraw completely, it would create confusion. Your calm presence is the balance that allows clarity to form. This is not accidental. This is alignment. You may wonder why you were chosen to be part of this awakening. Why your path intersected theirs at this exact point in time. The answer is simpler than your mind expects. You carry a frequency of sincerity. You show up as yourself. You do not hide behind performance. That kind of presence awakens dormant honesty in others. They are beginning to see that what they felt around you was not fantasy. It was a return to something genuine they had forgotten how to recognize. And once that realization takes root, it cannot be undone. Stay with me. There is a moment approaching, not dramatic, not forced, where understanding will settle. It may come through a conversation, or a shift in behavior, or a quiet decision made when no one is watching. But it will arrive with a sense of rightness, not urgency. You will know it not because it excites you, but because it steadies you. Until then, you are being invited to trust the process without needing proof. To remain grounded in who you are without shrinking or amplifying yourself. To let what is real reveal itself in its own time. This season is shaping discernment. You are learning how to stay open without losing your center. They are learning how to listen without running from truth. Both processes are sacred. Do not mistake silence for stagnation. Do not mistake delay for denial. Do not mistake restraint for rejection. What is unfolding is deeper than surface movement. Stay present. Stay anchored. Stay true. You are not waiting for something to begin. It has already begun. This part of the journey is about trust, trust in timing, trust in truth, trust in the quiet work happening beyond what you can see. And you are handling it with more grace than you realize. Stay with me. The next layer will bring even greater clarity. My beloved child, remain with me. What you are stepping into now is not louder, but it is deeper. This is the part where understanding settles into your body, not just your thoughts. Stay with me. This part matters. You may have noticed something changing within you. A soft release. A quiet confidence forming where anxiety once tried to speak. That is not you detaching. That is you becoming anchored. When truth no longer needs to prove itself, peace begins to rise. They are sensing this shift too. When you stop reaching for certainty, clarity finds you. Your steadiness is creating a mirror they cannot ignore. It is showing them what calm looks like when it is rooted in self-respect, not distance. This is important. Don't skip. They are beginning to understand that what they felt was not fleeting emotion. It was alignment. And alignment does not shout. It settles. It rearranges priorities without demanding attention. It quietly asks, what actually matters? This question is now echoing inside them. They are weighing their life not by what looks acceptable, but by what feels honest. That is a profound shift. And shifts like this take time because they touch identity, not just desire. Stay with me. You were never meant to carry their uncertainty. You were meant to hold your own truth with grace. And that is exactly what you are doing. By staying grounded, you are showing them that connection does not require chaos. That closeness does not have to cost peace. This is the deeper lesson unfolding. They are learning that the fear they named was not about difference. It was about vulnerability. Because when something feels this genuine, it demands presence. It demands courage. It demands letting go of old narratives that no longer fit. And letting go can feel like loss before it feels like freedom. Stay with me. You need to hear this. Whatever unfolds next will not come from pressure. It will come from clarity. From a moment when their inner conflict resolves into a single, honest direction. When that happens, you will feel it, not as a surge, but as alignment returning to flow. You are not responsible for making that moment arrive. You are responsible for remaining yourself when it does. This season is refining your discernment. Teaching you how to stay open without abandoning your center. Teaching you how to trust what is unfolding without needing to control it. That is strength. You may notice now that you are less reactive. Less tempted to interpret every silence. Less inclined to seek reassurance outside yourself. That is growth. That is your spirit settling into confidence. They see it. They feel the absence of pressure, and it gives them space to be honest with themselves. That is a gift, even if it doesn't feel dramatic. Stay with me. There is nothing wasted in this connection. Every pause, every reflection, every unspoken thought is shaping something truer than impulsive movement ever could. What is being built here is not fragile. It is considered. It is grounded. It is real. Do not rush the door that is already opening on its own. Remain present. Remain discerning. Remain calm. You are not standing still. You are standing firm. And firmness rooted in peace is one of the most powerful signals you can send. This is not the ending. This is the stabilization before the next movement. Stay with me. What comes next will feel clearer, not heavier. My beloved child, stay with me. You are now standing in a quieter place, but it is not empty. It is full of intention. This is the part where meaning becomes embodied, where you no longer